We've seen it from the 90s through the 2000s, and then we had today 2 additional witnesses here under oath, and we have multiple whistleblowers in written testimony who say it's exactly the same thing. You haven't changed a lick. We've got your word against everybody else's. Why should we believe you?
Whoa, we are at it again. Hello, everybody, and welcome back to another episode of the Airing of Grievances. That's Rob Grieve. I'm Eric Reamer, and listen, last week we showed you the Senate committee hearing about catastrophic damage to home and property, and we're going to go back to that video, a different set of interviews, and we're going to ask the question, who's really pulling the strings and paying the bills when it comes to claims? Before we do that, though, Rob, happy Saturday.
Happy Saturday to you, my dear friends. Happy Saturday to you. Thank you so much for tuning in. Thanks for all the likes, shares, views, and you guys are just the best. I'm so grateful.
Yeah, the comments are fast, furious, and we are so grateful for them.
Good stuff.
Hey, listen, let's set this thing up here. This is a very long hearing, and the members are under oath, but it's so long that we don't want to take all that time, especially not your time here today. So let's just say that the claimant, and I will say this, Rob, I severely edited this testimony
for the sake of time.
For the sake of time, I didn't change or alter any of the words, and nothing is out of order in chronological sequence. However, I want you to be aware of the fact that we're not going to give you the original claimant's testimony. I will tell you that she was a woman from Georgia who had a 70-foot oak tree fall on her home. We understand that this conversation is about home and catastrophic damage in a natural disaster that's happened. It's not necessarily connected in any way to maybe in some ways, to the automotive claims industry or insurance, the way that they handle their claims. We understand all of that. But for the sake of time, the first person that we're going to hear from is the third adjuster assigned to this woman's claim in Hurricane Helene.
Yeah. Right. And so I just want to add that we put this whole program together to give you a snapshot of what goes on behind the scenes.
Yeah.
And while these are catastrophic home claims, they're handled by the same people that handle your auto claims. Mm-hmm. And there are very many crossovers between, and that's why we want to talk about this today. When we're listening to this adjuster speak,
yes,
I want you to here's the burning question. Who's making the decision on the claim? Is it the person that you're hearing testifying that would be talking to the claimant, the person that's got the problem?
Right.
Or is there somebody else? And what are maybe some of the motivations behind what they're doing? So with that, I would say let's roll.
This is Mr. Cliff Milikin. Mr. Milikin is an adjuster who works for Allstate through Pilot Catastrophe. He has a connection to Ms. Miguel as well. He was sent out to conduct a re-inspection of Ms. Miguel's home. Mr. Milikin, the floor is yours.
I've worked as a claims adjuster for Pilot Catastrophe since 2014. By 2016, I transitioned to a full-time adjusting, working primarily for Allstate, and have been deployed consistently for over 8 years. Since 2020, I've observed significant changes in Allstate's claim handling that, in my view, undermine the interest of policyholders and erode trust in the insurance industry. First, Allstate has increasingly relied on third-party, non-licensed inspectors, or so-called picture takers, instead of licensed adjusters to inspect damaged properties. These individuals are not trained nor licensed adjusters. They merely take random pictures and upload them to a portal where an often inexperienced inside adjuster grabs the photo package, reviews, and attempts to write an estimate. The estimate is then sent to a reviewer who then determines coverage and often mandates revisions. This is without transparency, as the reviewer's name does not go on the estimate. This process confuses policyholders who mistake the picture takers for adjusters, and then the policyholder never has an in-person experience with the adjuster who actually submits the approved estimate. This process also increases the likelihood of missing damage, which is often to Allstate's benefit. Field adjusters like me are in the best position to address the damage to a property. We are licensed and we are the ones who physically inspect the property in person, and we have training to assess damage appropriately. After we, as the adjuster, inspect a property, we write an estimate which explains the observed damage and estimates the minimal cost of repair. Second, Allstate has stripped all field adjusters, regardless of experience, of decision-making authority. Adjusters now act just as glorified picture takers, submitting our work to the reviewer who approves or denies the estimate and dictates revisions. In the overwhelming majority of cases, Allstate reviewers who have never been to the loss instruct the adjuster to alter and delete factual and causal findings in our estimate. Frequently, these alterations and deletions are simply false. Reviewers at times force adjusters to use material not of like kind and quality, and not to consider engineer reports because they weren't ordered by Allstate, and to issue denial letters that the adjuster must sign even when the adjuster disagrees with the decision and believes it to be false. There is no option for a discussion. It's the reviewer's decision, and that's final. If an adjuster resists, the claim is reassigned to someone who will comply. In most cases, the alterations and deletions drive the estimate down, meaning the insureds receive less money than required to indemnify them for the loss. As adjusters, we pride ourselves in having integrity, so when forced to do things that we do not agree with, we feel obligated to express that with the insured. When I've explained this to policyholders that I didn't make the decision, I was reprimanded and told this is not permitted. In one case, I was sent out as a supplemental field adjuster to look at the property for Miss Natalia McGill and her husband. While on site with the public adjuster, I reviewed the engineering report that was provided by the public adjuster, a brick expert report, again provided by the public adjuster, and discussed the inspection results with the public adjuster. And while on site, I agreed with the PA that the estimate over $400,000 appeared to represent the covered damages. I then reviewed all the information and drafted an estimate that considered the recommendations laid out by that engineer that would have attempted to bring the McGills back to the pre-loss condition using the most cost-effective option. I then submitted my estimate to the reviewer, who instructed me to make changes to my estimate. After doing so, I submitted a revised approved estimate for $100,000 or thereabout. I believe some of these alterations were wrong because they contradicted the engineering report and the brick expert report without getting a second opinion from another engineer. These new practices are wrong, and the people most affected by them are the ones who lack the resources to fight back, like the poor and the elderly. Allstate is even making it so difficult for those who do hire experienced contractors, public adjusters, or attorneys to represent them that many merely lose interest and quit because the time involved is not worth the compensation and the effort. The tactic seems to be working as designed.
Well, again, the question was, who's making the decisions
Right.
in this claims process, and what were their motivations? And I think that's pretty clear. I don't need to spell it out. You can hear the same thing that I heard.
He's got to go 3 floors up.
It's, there's more people than just the person that you're dealing with, even though that's what it seems like.
Right.
So one of the other things that's important to who's making the decisions, which in this particular case and many others, isn't the person that is actually the person that you're talking to.
Right.
It's somebody that's name doesn't appear anywhere.
Yes.
What did he have to say about their qualifications? And this person that you're talking to him because he was there. He looked at the damage.
Right.
He assessed the damage. He sent the damage report up to Oz.
To us.
Oz asked him to make some amendments. And he presents it back to you.
Right.
But that person that made the amendments, what is their qualifications? Are they? We don't know.
We don't know.
That's the answer.
Yeah.
We don't know. But they aren't the same qualifications necessarily as the gentleman that you were just hearing speak.
Who is licensed, trained, and
Seen thousands of claims
yeah.
and all the rest of that, has spent the time to go over. This guest was forced to hire an independent appraiser and an engineer.
Right.
And he had all this information and went to go build his based on that information, and it really didn't come out the backside of the grinder just like that.
No, it did not.
So one of the other things he said that was very interesting is they use materials that are not like, kind, and quality. So maybe not what your house has now, but something that looks like what your house has now. There's a lot of similarities to that and auto claims.
It sounds very familiar.
If there's a cheaper way to do it, they'll find it, whether it's good for you or not. And, you know, we have to always go back to the policy. What does the policy say? What does the policy promise?
Yeah. Well, I think it's a time we should probably look into hearing from the executive vice president and chief claims officer of Allstate.
Our next witness is Mike Fiato of Allstate. Mr. Fiato is the Executive Vice President and Chief Claims Officer of the Allstate Corporation. Mr. Fiato, the floor is yours.
Allstate's purpose is to serve customers. From small setbacks to large-scale disasters, we help customers recover from life's toughest moments so that they can move forward with confidence. I like to tell our team that our customers' worst day needs to be our best. Let me start by saying that on behalf of Allstate, I regret that Ms. McGull is unhappy with the settlement of her claims.
So he's sorry that she's unhappy.
I wonder what Senator Hawley has to feel.
Yeah, I think Senator Hawley, you know, was maybe left with a different feeling. Again, I recommend you watch the whole testimony.
Yes.
So that, you know, we're trying not to take anything out of context.
Right.
But we do need to get to the finer points.
Yes.
So let's see what Senator Hawley has to say. And thank you, Senator Hawley.
All right, let me just start with you, Mr. Fiato. So I take it from your statement just now that you don't have any regrets about Ms. Miguel's case. Mr. Keating apologized to Mr. Vertel and promised to work with him to resolve his case. Thank you for that, Mr. Keating. I didn't hear anything to that extent from you, Mr. Fiato. So you think Allstate handled it just fine?
No, I stated in my statement that I regret that Ms. McGull is unhappy with the...
Yeah, well, that's like saying, I'm sorry you're unhappy, right? That's, I apologize, but I don't apologize. Would you like to apologize to her now? Maybe I just misunderstood her.
I want to make sure that we get your claim resolved to your satisfaction. And if there's additional information or things that we can do to continue to work with you, we'll do that.
All right, so here we are. He made an apology.
No. No, he did not. He said that he was sorry. In fact, he didn't even say that. To the woman, he said, we want to make it right. And if you have any additional information, bring it on. We'll consider it.
And here's the rub. What happened to all the information that was provided from the very beginning? What happened to the information from her own adjuster that she had to hire, pay for out of pocket? What happened to the engineering report that she had done that she had to pay for?
Right.
And why is that not considered? And we have to come up with new information.
Right.
When we already had the information.
Does any of this happen in the automotive side of this same dialogue?
Property damage is property damage. The insurers are the insurers. The rules are very similar, no matter how you look at it. We have adjusters come and look at damage for the consumers and spend a lot of time researching and writing the right repair plan, just as she did.
Yep.
And then we get with the adjuster, just like she did.
Yep.
And go over all the findings. You know, let's interchange engineering reports with OEM procedures written by engineers.
Yeah.
And we take the time to show those to the insurance company. And here's a good time to point out that Allstate isn't the only one guilty of this.
No.
This is kind of the same story over and over and over again, unless you have one of the better insurers.
Yes.
But we spend a lot of time with the adjuster going over all these pieces of information, and then the adjuster leaves to go summarize it all and put it together and create an offer, if you will.
Yep.
Settlement, whatever, and it is nowhere near what we discussed. And what that does now is it adds time.
Yes, it does.
And it burns up your rental, if you have rental. Or additional living expenses is what we would use in the term of homes.
Sure.
If you weren't able to live in it, you'd have to live someplace else. That's covered under your additional living expenses. When you have a car, you have a rental, if you've opted for rental coverage.
And you should.
And you should. And you should get the most robust because of these types of situations.
Yep.
Because what's happened now is we're delaying. Because what is going to happen next for us with the automobile claims is we're going to submit another supplement.
Right.
Which is really going to be our original paperwork that we started with, which is going to ding them to come back down, and we're going to go over it again. And that, in several other videos you've seen, can take 6 or 7 times just to get to a point where we can move forward with the repairs. Because keep in mind, through all this, no repairs have been started, no parts have been ordered.
Yep.
It's just burning up time.
Yeah, and that's why we bring this story to you, right? Is to explain to you that sometimes the optics of what you see in front of you really isn't what's happening
No.
upstairs,
No.
and we can't get the work done until upstairs finds a way to come to common ground.
Right, for you, the consumer.
Right.
Because you want your house fixed properly, you don't want it to leak and all the rest of that, you want your vehicle fixed properly.
Correct.
And you want it to pre-loss condition, whether it's the house or the car.
Right.
So I just want to point out, if you listen to this guy's testimony, he had a whole bunch more brickwork that he put into his estimate.
Right.
That got declined.
Yes.
By Oz. And the reason that is because of the aesthetics of it.
Right.
If you just have new brick, new brick,
and then old brick,
old, yeah. It's going to look repaired.
Yeah.
It's not supposed to look repaired. That's not the way it was before the loss happened.
That's exactly right.
So there's lots of stuff that rolls back and forth between property claims, whether they're homeowners or whether they're auto. And we just want to bring you what's really happening. I didn't tell this guy what to say.
No.
The adjuster, but that's the adjuster that's looking at your car as well.
Yeah.
And these are the conversations that take place, and the end results are everything that he described.
It just really does appear to be, and the last thing you want to hear your insurer say is, "I'm sorry you didn't like it."
Yeah. If you could provide more information.
Yeah. We're doing our best here at the Airing of Grievances to share this information with you and equip you with knowledge that may help you down the road. Knock on wood, God forbid you ever need those services. At least you know where you can find that information. Rob, happy Saturday.
Happy Saturday to you. My dear friends, happy Saturday to you. Have an amazing week. I look forward to seeing you next Saturday. God bless.